Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. It's obviously a very difficult time, and the fact that everybody is coming tonight is very much appreciated. It feels very supportive. Because when we started off making the list of who we're going to try and invite, we originally were trying to make it in the house, and as time went on, the list kept getting longer and longer. Normally by a simcha, you invite 50 people and you hope that 30 people will come. You invite 200 people and you hope 150 people will come. Here, everybody we invited is coming. There was no one that said no. So so we decided we're gonna have to expand, and we made it now in the hall. It's but it's very appreciated. Lisa and I and all of us really appreciate that everyone has come tonight to be able to be with us and to join with us at this time, and we hope that the they were learning and the seuda and everything that's going on will of course be an aliyas neshama for Simcha Dov Bear. Just want to share a couple of words, a couple of thoughts. It's been very difficult to come up with an organized, coherent thought at this time. There are a lot of emotions that are swarming around, and makes it difficult to really figure out exactly what would be a nice thing to say, an appropriate thing to say. So I hope that it's coherent. That's my best that I can hope for right now. We're actually at a very funny time. It seems like we're at a time of many things concluding. We have just finished 8 days of Hanukkah. Right? The menorahs are still on the windowsills in many places. Coming off of Hanukkah is also it's a little bit of it was an unusual Hanukkah for us, but now that's concluded, and of course we're now at the end of the Shloshim period, which is also a difficult time because it feels a little bit more of a separation. It feels like it's a conclusion of that connection, but it's really a conclusion of our this last move that we moved to Israel was really all about Dovi. It was really all about taking about Simcha Dov, and that was the focus, and that was the way we bought our apartment, and that's the way we built everything, and now that focus has come to an end as well, and of course, it's the end of Dovi's life, right, which is 25 years. So there seems to be we're at a changing point, at the end of many things, and we're looking to move, and not location. Change focuses. But there are multiple levels of reactions that are going on in me right now. There's obviously a spiritual, psychological equilibrium that's being challenged, as well as many other levels. And I'm finding myself oddly comfortable in some areas and very uncomfortable in others. So spiritually and philosophically, I'm very comfortable because I know that Dovi was a gift for us for 25 years. I don't have any feeling like there's anything there was no avla, there was nothing bad that happened. We had Dovi for 25 years, and that was a gift. And being able to take care of him in these last years, while that was a heavy focus, it was an opportunity. All of the changes and sacrifices that we did for them, I'm comfortable with those sacrifices. I don't feel any level of spiritual or physical or or a philosophical challenge. And intellectually, I'm also very comfortable that Dovi's in a better place. We watched him overcome this challenge for 6 years, and he did an amazing, it was even undescribable, as all of you have heard us say many times. The fact that he was able to accept it in the way he was unbelievable, and he was calm, and he was okay with it. But we were getting ready for him to be in a better place, because for him it was obviously a tremendous challenge that we can't even begin to comprehend what all that was. And at the end, the last 2 weeks, it was also very uncomfortable for him. We saw him physically, we saw his body physically suffering to the extent that we had not seen before. So intellectually, I'm relieved for him. So those areas I'm not struggling with. Emotionally, now, that's another story. I mean, okay, I'm not going to go why. You all understand why. But I'm also, there's another area of challenge that I have, and that's experientially. In other words, my life's focus, our life's focus has been for the past 3 years only taking care of Simcha Dov, getting up in the morning. It was automatically, it was the routines. It was taking care of his medicines. It was changing his things. It was learning with him in the morning. It was getting him ready, and then making sure that our metapel was on top of things. If anything I did during the day, the door was always open. If I had a meeting, the door was always able to be opened with a knock, and our focus was always there. I never traveled. We never left anywhere. Everything was about Simcha Dov. If I did any work, that was a distraction, a side thing. Going to sleep at night, there was a routine, and setting up the bed, and we were with him all the time. So our whole lives for the past 3 years have been only one thing. And now I get up in the morning, and there's a hole. There's a vacuum. And it's hard to figure out how to change that, how to start building new routines, and having a different experience is perhaps also very challenging for us. The ability to be able to figure out what life means and where life is going. And if I would be honest, there also seems to be a distance that has grown between Hashem and us. It's a weird thing to say, perhaps, but when we were taking care of Dovi, we were on a mission, and it was clear, it was evident, there was no choices, and there was a feeling Hashem was helping us. This was what the life Hashem had given us. Clearly told us, okay, stop what you're doing now. This is what you're going to do now, and while it being obviously very challenging and difficult, there was a strong presence of Hashem in the house. And now that Dovi's not there, there seems to be a void in that as well. We're no longer on the mission anymore. The mission's gone. The mission's over. We may have succeeded, but what do you do now? What's mission number 2? So that's what I've been really struggling with that. I think the emotional part we're going to just have to let be, and whatever. Save that for my therapist. But what I am focusing on is really what's the experience, what's the focus of the house? How do we deal with this feeling of Hashem not being there as he was before? And I want to challenge myself with that assumption, and that it's not true. Hashem is here and giving us directions, every much so. I want to share with you a story that I heard once, a couple of years ago when we were in Muncie. Someone shared this story with me. It was a meaningful story at the time, but I want to add a little bit of a connection to the story. I don't remember with which gadol it was, and that's probably a good thing, so that when I add my knetch, we're not going to be attributing it to anybody who's not ready for that credit. But there was a story that there was a big Talmud Chacham, a gadol that lived here in Eretz Yisrael, who had a child with a disability, and it was well known. And one time there was a father whose child now had become sick and become disabled, and he was struggling with that burden, with that challenge. And he came to this gadol to try and get advice. What do I do? How do I deal with this situation? So he went in to meet with him, and this gadol said to him, he said, most of the day I'm able to be in the Beis Medrash, I'm able to learn, and I teach my shir, and I'm part of the yeshiva. But every so often I'll get a phone call, my wife will call and say that our son had a bathroom mess, and I'm the only one who can take care of him. I'm not sure why the Metapel, if they had one, was able to do it, but I'm the only one who can do it. I'm the only one who my son wants to do it. I'm the only one able to do that. So I close my Gemara and I go home. And it takes about, whatever it is, 45 minutes or so. And I take care of my son the way only I can do, and I come back. He said to this man, do you know what it feels like when I'm coming back? It feels like Matzah Yom Kippur. So the guy is confused. Why Matzah Yom Kippur? Perhaps Matzah Tisha B'Av. Why Matzah Yom Kippur? He said, I'll tell you why it's Matzah Yom Kippur. Because Yom Kippur is the one day a year that I know I'm exactly where I need to be. Right? If you go to shul, that's where you're supposed to be. You can't do anything else. You know you're exactly where you're supposed to be. He said, every day I question, maybe I shouldn't be the one giving the shir, and my friend is the one who's collecting money. Maybe he should be giving the shir. He's perhaps a bigger Talmud Chacham. Maybe he can talk to the kids better than I can, and I should be collecting money. How do I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do? But there's one time that I know I'm doing what only I can do, and that's when I go and I take care of my son, because it's something only I can do. And therefore it leaves me with the sense of Matzah Yom Kippur. So that was meaningful to me then. But I would like to say a new layer that I think is true, based upon the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov. And that is, in time, all time is equal to Hashem. All time is valuable to Hashem. There is no time that has greater significance to Hashem. In other words, Yom Kippur is as important as a weekday. Hashem is the one who created the weekday. Hashem created Yom Kippur. Now they look different. It's true. Your deeds need to be different on Yom Kippur. Our behaviors have to be different. But as far as Hashem is concerned, it's not one day is more chashuv than the other. Just like the Baal Shem Tov used to say, that one person is not more chashuv than the other. You can have someone who's a Talmud Chacham, and you can have someone who's a peasant. Each one Hashem created and put them in their situations and made them who they're supposed to be. I know there's a little chassidish, so. But as far as Hashem is concerned, one person is not more chashuv or valuable or beloved or endeared to Hashem than the other. They have different tafkidim. They have different purposes. But Hashem is available to every person no matter who they are. The same way Hashem is available for us in time, no matter what day it is. It doesn't make a difference if it's Yom Kippur or if it's Tisha B'Av or if it's a weekday. Hashem is equally there. We may have different things to do, but we need to see that Hashem is there at all times. So when where do I see that the most? It was really Dovi time. Caring for Simcha Dov, it didn't make a difference what needed to be done. We did it. It didn't make a difference if I was literally saving his life by clearing the congestion in his lungs and pumping out whatever oxygen he needed, or whether I was putting in a urinary catheter. He needed it. He needed to get. These are things that had to happen, whether it was profound or differently profound, right? Whether it's something you say in public or you can't say in public, that's a different question, right? But it didn't make a difference. You're saving his life. You're treating him. When we went to the hospital, we didn't let a nurse touch him. I took care of him. And we had Eliza took care of him. And when Ram would come and we would take care of him, we didn't let the nurses touch him because we didn't trust them. So even though they might be demeaning or uncomfortable jobs, but it was Dovi, it was Simcha Dov we're talking about. No one touched him but us. Okay, we'll let the doctors, because they have to do certain things maybe. But other than that, we didn't give over demeaning jobs. There was no such thing as a demeaning job. It was all caring for him. It was all what we did to give him. And therefore, all things were equal, no matter how covetic or not covetic that you may want to look at. And therefore, that was what I learned from taking care of Dovi. It didn't make a difference if I was putting tefillin on him and saying Dam Shachris, or whether we were cleaning up a bathroom mess, or even if we were sitting by his side, holding his hand, watching a show. It was all what we needed to do at that moment to take care of him, and that's what Hashem wanted for us. So just like all of those times, even though some were greater or less great in a certain perspective, were equal. They were equal in Hashem's eyes. They were equal what we need to do for Dovi. So too in life, we need to be able to look. I need to be able to look at life and say, so it's all equal. Every day has its purpose. Every day has its tafkid. And whether it feels like Hashem is here more or it feels like Hashem is less more, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. And that we see this by Yosef by Yeshev, where it says that he was an ish matzliach. He was a slave. He was sold into slavery, and he was abandoned by everything that he knew, and he didn't give up. And it says that he was an ish matzliach, and the Sipurni says because he was able to mechavin or masik what every moment, what he's supposed to do, every situation, what was required of him, he did it. And how did he do that? Because Hashem Hashem was with him. He didn't allow slavery, being sold by his brothers, being abandoned by everything he knew, distract him from the idea that Hashem is here with me. And therefore, he was an ish matzliach, and he was able to rise and do whatever he needed to do. But it make a difference if he's taking care of the slaves in the pits or he's the viceroy of Egypt. He was able to do it all. So therefore, that's the message that I'm trying to take on. That now we're at the end of all of these different momentous times. We went through Hanukkah, and we were able to light the candles and fill our houses with an abundance of light and feel the Hashem's with us. And tonight we have no candles. But it doesn't mean Hashem is not here equally with us, no matter what is going on. And we need to try and feel the light, or feel the presence of Hashem, even when we don't have the light, even when we don't have Simcha Dov anymore physically in our lives. We need to try and see that Hashem is with us. Hashem is Itoy, and therefore be able to matzliach in whatever it is that Hashem next puts in front of us. It's Hashem. It'll work. Okay. Now I'm finished.